kettle of fish across the pond.
We all know American news folk are better looking than ours.
CBS News' Katie Couric's got so much MILF appeal, even the cameraman can't help zooming in for a closer look.
They're also big characters, and with big characters comes big ego, and with big ego comes big squabble.
Take this astonishing showdown between two elder newsmen.
So what do you want now?
Well, if I have to teach you how to be a reporter, Ollie, I'll do that later.
Oh, why don't you do that later, Jim? I think the lady expressed herself, and you're not here, you're there. Is there any question you'd like me to ask her?
And no, I'll give you lessons on how to become a reporter later
I'll
on.
give you some lessons on how to be an editor, because I was your boss once.
Yeah, you were, and are no longer. How did that happen?
American cable news is where the biggest characters of all reside.
Take silver-haired Captain Serious Keith Olbermann here, the portentous liberal showman of MSNBC. He's got an absurd sense of drama, which made watching his show during the Bush era a bit like seeing a warm-hearted but angry suburban dad shout over the fence at the bloke next door who just happened to be president.
You're a fascist. Get them to print you a T-shirt with fascist on it.
Still, in terms of raw drama, the fair and balanced newsmen of dystopian future sci-fi satirical shouty porn sledgehammer channel Fox News win out every time.
Fox generally leans more to the right than a man who's just had his right leg blown off, and now Obama's in the White House, their commentators are getting to play the underdog at last.
If you believe this country is great, but nobody is fighting for you, let me tell you something. You don't need any guns for this revolution. You just need to stand up and find your voice. Come on, follow me.
Although it's a curious kind of underdoggery where they complain about liberal bias in the media one moment and then brag about their cable dominance the next. Now, to a dumb foreigner like me, all the Fox anchors look like characters in some 80s frat house comedy.
Oh, wait, dear.
For instance, Sean Hannity here would be cast as the uptight jock bully. Witness his cold ink-dot eyes, which could have been surgically transplanted from a particularly characterless dormouse, and his whiny, peevish demeanour.
We can't say enemy combatant. We can't say terrorist. We'll get to those things in a second. Now we're not going to use the term illegal immigrant?
The disapproving high school principal would have to be Bill O'Reilly, moralising about permissive society one minute,
The Woodstock generation thought it was cool to get stoned.
and chortling about lady bumps the next.
Their pitch is beach-friendly, if you know what I mean, and we believe they are patriots.
When there's no tits to dribble over, Bill kills time by boasting about his ratings,
Judging from our enormous ratings, I think we've been successful in doing that.
or plugging his myriad books.
I do want to thank you all for keeping Bold fresh on the bestseller list for more than 6 months.
Or simply sitting there pulling a face like a tortoise that's learned to enjoy the stink of its own farts. But his primary characteristic is anger. Bill gets